Howdy doody, good evening, how are we all? How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Fucking hell. Hey? Yeah. It's one of those questions that I don't possibly think anybody could answer there. But good evening, good afternoon, how are you all? Welcome to the GeekCast. I've just realised I'm actually on the wrong screen. Let me get to the right screen. There we go. We're on this screen. It's supposed to be anyway. How are you all? Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. So, episode 12. This creeped up on us, didn't it? Bloody hell. I know we skipped last week, and because it was Magic's mum's birthday, we were out eating pizza and stuff. So we're back with episode 12. Few things to go through, but as I said, just right at the end, we're going to do the special AGA, Ask a Geek Anything. So if you do have any questions about that you kind of want my opinion on, or if you've got any questions specifically about me, then I will gladly answer them within reason. Obviously, I'm not going to divulge too much personal information. I'm not that weird. So, indeed, yeah. She was a grand age of 75, wasn't she? She was 75. Yeah, Mrs. Magic. Yeah. She didn't look a day over 65. Just you remember to tell your mum that. Yeah. Brownie points. She's actually coming to stay with us next Friday for a week or so. Yeah, Queen Hobbit, or as I call her, Mini Mum, because she is very mini to me. Most people are, to be fair. There's a few people in the world that are obviously a lot taller, but generally around, she's a small one. So, yeah, thanks very much for joining us. Hopefully I'm not going to be waffling on for too long tonight, because we had an epic session last night in LOTRO, which, if you were there, you will have realised that I was jibber-jabbering for about 5 and something hours, I think it was. Oh, God. I'm not doing that. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we're talking about 5.5 hours of the LOTRO Legendary revamp. And going through pretty much how you do all that, but we'll have a little discussion on that in a bit, because that is in the show. So we'll have a look, see what we've got coming up today. So I knew that I was going to do that, so I'm just going to refresh that. Boom. Twitch leak. Yes, you'll have heard about the Twitch leak and everything that happened. I think it was the end of last week. There has been a little bit more information coming forth. But yes, a bit dubious at best. We'll also be discussing CoD sent out a cheater warning. If anybody plays things like Warzone, etc., which is generally rife with cheaters, Call of Duty, Activision / Blizzard has sent out notification of impending doom. Maybe. Now we've got another little thing that you might not have heard of, but I picked up on this week, a thing called Audio Radar, which is a wonderful little crowdfunded, I say gadget, but it's gadgets really, that is aimed at the deaf and hard of hearing. And it's an interesting, I've got a video on that for you to have a look at, and we'll have a little discussion on those things. Obviously, one of the biggies, which launched not yesterday, the day before, Wednesday, which was the update 30.3, which included the legendary revamp that we've obviously just touched on, and also the Brawler. The Brawler class was made available. We may start hours later, depend if we finish at a reasonable time. I'm not guaranteeing that, because I tend to always say, oh, we'll finish at a reasonable time, we'll do X, Y, Z, and then it just beep, way past. Also, your favorites as we go. Name the game and name the movie. Name the game, I think, is going to be difficult this week. Name the movie, I think, is going to be easy. However, I've kind of had to make it a little bit harder, but you'll see. Maybe. You'll see. Then we're going to talk about the New World launch and obviously the subsequent issues. We have been playing that quite a bit, but obviously we stopped with the launch of Update 30. See, this is the busy period now. We're coming into, obviously, the period of games launching, updates, etc. And you tend to have, for me anyway, so much to play and so little time, and you're always playing a bit of a catch-up. So we'll have a little discussion about that. Obviously, some of us have been playing that. Monkey's in with his guess already. It's a preemptive guess. Hang on, we'll have a Mary Poppins in there, I'm sure. Yeah, we'll have Mary Poppins in there. Yeah. So yeah, we'll discuss that. We'll also have a look at Windows 11. That did launch. We'll discuss ins and outs of that. GTA, the Trilogy announced. So Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, which is Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, if you know anything about Grand Theft Auto, you obviously know that they were some of the older games. Vice City is my favorite GTA game. So we'll have a little discussion, only a little bit on that one. And then the last, but certainly not least, is the Ask Me Anything, or the Ask a Geek by Anything. If you do have any questions, please throw them in when we get through there. But just hit the refresh. Boom, we'll go back to the Twitch leak. Quite a biggie, this one, to be fair. People were kind of bricking it with regards what was getting leaked and etc. But it was last week. It was a massive leak. It was literally the whole of the website got basically taken. Source code for the website, details about earnings, all sorts of stuff and information was taken. It was approximately 125 gig of data. Like I say, some of the financial earnings of some of the top big streamers was leaked online. Various attempts at kind to work out how much they actually earned, but it did seem to work out. There was a few lists banded around, and some of the big streamers themselves did actually confirm that the numbers were very correct, or as near to correct as they were going to admit to. Sadly, mine were on there. Don't know why, but yeah, it hit a bit of a shitstorm with regards to the leak. Certain aspects, apart from obviously the financial data, were leaked. Like security methods was one of them, because people who are very much more clever than I were able to dive into the information of how the security features are integrated into the website, and they made it quite vulnerable. Now, Twitch have come out and said that there's been no passwords been leaked that they are aware of. They can't see that has gone. However, I did say on one of my streams that, or at least two of my streams, that my recommendation is just to change your password, put two-factor authentication on it, and also to change your stream key. Now, people might say, what is a stream key? Pretty much anybody who has a Twitch account has a stream key. It was your channel. It is the ability to stream to that channel, and various software via OBS, XSplit, or NVIDIA Broadcaster, for example, needs that stream key or some authorization to actually broadcast. So to be fair to Twitch, they did send out an email saying out of an abundance of caution that they had actually reset everybody's stream key. So yours has been reset anyway, so you don't really need to do anything. I had reset mine manually, and then lo and behold, they reset it again. With regards to the actual hack, upon investigation, Twitch have actually found that it was due to an incorrectly configured server. Now, they don't really divulge too much. Has the leak been reported to the Information Commissioner in the UK, as it could have ramifications for GDPR? I'm not entirely sure with you, Ray, on that one. I know where obviously you're on about, because obviously we have the GDPR, which is to do with data protection. So I'm not entirely sure how it affects that. I'm sure over the coming weeks and months we'll see some fallout from that. I can imagine, with the money that's banded around from the earnings from some of the big streamers, maybe not necessarily the US streamers, but obviously the European-based ones. Yeah, I agree. It is fairly sensitive information. Now, whether they deem that as coming under GDPR because it's been shared non-voluntarily, I'm not entirely sure. Again, I'm not a legal expert in this, so I couldn't really like to say. I'm sure the EU Commission and maybe also the UK government in some shape or form may look into this. I'm sure the police in wherever the leak actually happened, because they didn't actually say what country the leak actually came from with regards to the servers. Now, because obviously the servers are dotted around the world, definitely the ingest servers. So it'd be interesting to see actually, but there is going to be more fallout from that. But like I said, they didn't reveal anything else in terms of how the incorrectly configured server was accessed, etc. But they said that more investigation was done and up to 3 years of data was leaked. But Twitch didn't clarify, it did clarify that it believed no personal data such as logins are at risk. Also, payment details such as credit cards are not stored by Twitch, so they expect them to be safe, but no one knows if that is true. There has been another bit of information that was updated, I think, earlier today, and they said they are fairly confident that, again, passwords have not been released and payment methods have not been released because they don't have access to that. So I think if they're generally shouting that from the rooftops now, then they're fairly confident. There was a lot of silence to start with, and that did unnerve a lot of people. Because obviously, when do I want paying with PayPal with two-factor enabled? Yeah, I mean, it's fairly easy now if you do have a smartphone of some description. You can, or a phone even, because a lot of places you can use SMS, although that isn't a great method, if I'm honest, for authentication, although it is decent. Emails or I mean, obviously with some of the newer smartphones, you can do facial recognition or thumbprints or biometrics of some description, and also the authenticators such as Google authenticators. Yeah, because SMS can be spoofed, so it's not ideal. It is something, but it's not ideal. So yeah, if you have that capability, use the email to authenticate you that way. Obviously, you just don't want to make sure your email isn't hacked as well, because that'd be a double whammy if they've got access to that. That's why you don't have the same passwords. Just so you know. And then obviously, like I said, Google Authenticator or something like that, you can scan the QR codes and put it into there. So there's various ways and means to authenticate your account. I do recommend that, especially on if it's an account for something that you're not particularly bothered about, that doesn't have any payment information. It might be a website that you maybe go to from maybe once every 6 months. Yeah, I wouldn't really bother with something like that. But certainly PayPal and anything that's got any kind of sensitive information or something that you want to keep hold of, then definitely two-factor authentication is the way to go. One thing that, and this was the thing that probably bothered me most about the Twitch leak, and it wasn't even to do with the security of the website. It wasn't even to do with how the leak happened or anything like that. It was actually the reaction from some of the streamers whose payments were and the earnings were released. Now, the majority of maybe the top 20 that you saw of the list never said a word. They just went, well, we're not even discussing that, this and the other. But there was a few that, and this is my personal opinion on it, as most of these things are, they came across as a little bit arrogant. Now, you might say, well, it was all done in jest and this, that, and the other. But to be honest with you, I think the people forget that everybody that's watching this happen and everybody that is seeing it on social media, they are some of the people that have basically spent that money being a supporter of that channel, be it Lyric or anything. I'm going to point out Lyric here because he was the one that kind of pissed me off the most, because he did one comment and one comment only, and he went, top 5 is close. Now, he was number 6 or number 7 in the list in earnings. Yeah. And then all he came up was top 5 is close. And it's almost like you could just backtrack on that, say, oh, it was just a joke. It was just a joke. But when you have a very impassioned following, as they do, because they are big streamers, you know, at the end of the day, I can't imagine what their chat is like with their 30,000-40,000 people watching them at once. If you do that little call to arms, you're in a win-win situation there, aren't you? You can back out because you got the easy out and say, look, I was joking. No, I was just jesting. But then all of a sudden, if it flips the other way, all of a sudden he's getting thousands more dollars thrown at him to try and get him into that top 5. Now, you should never be able to see this kind of information, but it's out there and we know. I just think it was very remiss of them, and it wasn't just him, but most people just said, hey, look, I make money on Twitch. Sorry. And some of them were making astronomical amounts of money. They really were. But I just think when the Ray, thank you very much, you absolute legend. I can't put the whole swirly on, but thank you very much, my friend. Let me just find my sound. Let's hang on. I've got this one. I'll give you a round of applause. Let's go. Fucking hell, I feel like I've just done a lyric there. I've just done a lyric. No, that's not what I intended. Cheers, Ray. Thank you very much. But yeah, I was a little bit. I thought that was a little bit disgusting in a way to just say it's a bit arrogant, a bit blasé, saying, "Ha, I'm number 6 and number 7. Number 5's close. Shall we go for it, boys and girls, and just try and get there?" Now, interestingly, and it was something that I read yesterday, that one of the highest earners in that list isn't a streamer. Now, I know the top one, Critical Role, yeah, they do stream. They've got films and, you know, that kind of thing, yeah. But there was one guy that's on there, and he isn't actually streamed. He's never streamed, and he's already up there. Yeah. And I'm going to throw it up, and I don't know if anybody's heard it, but does anybody know how he's earned that money? Bal's titty streamers are still streamers. They are indeed. They are. However, he isn't a titty streamer. He's never streamed, but he's on that list. He ain't a hot tub streamer either. No. I don't think anybody's going to get it. And I was actually surprised, and it just completely passed me by. He's actually an extension developer. Yeah, so obviously on Twitch you have the extensions. Yeah, so he develops these, and he literally made one for Twitch bits, for certain things to happen when people did the Twitch bits. Now, he's got thousands of people using his Twitch bits extension. Yep, and he takes a 30% cut of that. For every Twitch bit that is spent. So, you know, 100 bits, he gets 30 equivalent value of that. And he's never streamed. Now, he's made enough money to actually start doing it full time, and he's actually got a business going now for doing it. But he's in that list. Now, fair play to him on that, because he's obviously hit a niche market, and I don't. But he got approached to talk about this. You know, he wasn't one that came out a bit arrogant about it and say, haha, I've got loads of fucking money thanks to you boys and girls. He actually does, you know, a decent thing, and he's tapped into that market. Now, you might say, hang on, 30% is a little bit much. Yeah, you're probably right, actually, because when you think Twitch is taking a cut of that, then he's taking a cut of that, and then the streamer themselves don't get left with much. And I think this is the whole problem at times, is that everybody wants the piece of the pie, and then the one that you're kind of giving the money to, I got loads of money, I can afford 3 packs of toff. I haven't had toffos in years. Don't they do a licorice one? Do they do a licorice toffo? I'm sure they do. They do different varieties. They do different flavors. Yeah, they do. No, toffos. Annie, did you get my ping? Did you get my ping? I did specifically. The other one that hasn't turned up is Charvel. I've actually pinged him directly as well to say, hey, we're live. You always forget. So yeah, fair play to this developer. Like I say, he's got a nice little business going for himself there. He's going to be taking on staff as well, which is nice, you know. So fair play to him. He's done the maths, he's done the working out, and he's making a decent amount of money to be appearing in that list. I mean, it was quite phenomenal how much they were earning. It was actually quite scary at times. And yeah, I wouldn't mind being a few dollars behind some of them, but we can all dream, can't we? I think personally, you've just got to be very careful with that kind of money income. And it's always when you see them now and they're just like, hey, I'm going to show you what I've bought, and they show this fucking, you know, Porsche Cayenne or something like that they've bought, and you just think, oh, do they not realize the correlation that people are just going to look at that and go, oh right, so that's where my money's going, is it, kind of thing. Now, people shouldn't ever think it's disposable income. I think if you have disposable income, that can go towards a streamer. Any that, you know, non-disposable, you should not be sending to a streamer at all, because at the end of the day, you need to live. That is disposable income. Now, obviously, disposable, you think I'm throwing that away, kind of thing. Am I getting the value from it? Yes. Thing is, the more you earn, the more you spend. It's very true. And I'm not saying that, Monkey, but what I'm saying is that should you then turn around to your followers who have been spending that money that you earn, hey, this fucking expensive car that you boys and girls are never ever going to be able to afford, thanks very much. I just sometimes think if you do that, it's a little bit of a middle finger to your followers and saying, thank you, yes, you're great, you're wonderful, thank you very much, but you just bought me a Porsche Cayenne. Or if you've seen this big house here, I'm going to have you a little tour of my house. There you go. You've done that. You've made that. Now, okay, normally in a normal place of work, that would never happen. You know, I wouldn't be turning around to Royal Mail and saying, ha, thank you, Royal Mail. This is the house that you've helped me buy. That would never happen, you know, but I just think you've got to be very humble at times. And there is a few, obviously, of the big streamers that do come across as that. And yes, you can go into their life a little bit. You got to remember, streaming is a little bit voyeuristic from the viewer point of view. No matter whether I watch other streamers or you're watching me, it is a voyeuristic thing. You're looking into my life. That webcam there is a portal into my home. It is a portal into my life, kind of thing. You'll see Jess the cat, you'll see Magic, you'll see me, you'll see part of my house. But I think you've got to be very humble and, you know, take it very easy. That's why I like Asmon Gold. He's earning millions a week, drives a shitty 99 car, and lives with his mum streaming from his bedroom. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he's doing probably a decent thing in that sense, because eventually he'll just go, right, I've had enough now. I'm going to take time away. I've made enough money I can ever possibly need. Boom, there we go. Fair enough. So, yeah, I mean, a little bit of a, again, tangent. I always do, don't I? I mean, tangents. Topics, you know, topics and tangents. That's what I should do. I should do topics and tangents, because I always start a topic and then I go off on a tangent. So yeah, that's the Twitch leak. I'm sure more will come out. All the streamers I support are small like yourself. Way, Annie, I'm 6 foot tall. I'm not small. Purely because I think they are more appreciative of the support. Too many peanuts in topics. Yeah, I don't actually like peanuts. Magic definitely doesn't like peanuts. But yeah. If I throw a Snickers at her, she'll never eat it, so. Because she's allergic to peanuts. Snickers? Why isn't the S in the wrong place? Snickers and Knickers. Peanuts, yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I get where you don't like nuts. Yeah, I'm not a fan either, Annie. Most of them anyway. But yeah, I get where you're coming from, Annie. Yeah, if anybody does subscribe to me, like Ray has earlier, I'm thankful. I'm astonished, really, that anybody does. But I'm always very thankful and very humble about it, because I think, well, I'm doing something right. but I'm always going to say to that person, thank you very much for that. And this is why the big streamers, when they've got like money coming through, this is probably why they don't actually maybe have the notifications on. But all of a sudden you just see ding, 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 and it's like it's almost like somebody's just at a cash register and they're going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and you're never doing anything. Toss a coin to your bitcher. Indeed, indeed. Yep. Toss a coin to your Twitcher. Mike the Bard did that one. So yeah, there's different viewpoints on it all. I do appreciate some people do have different viewpoints to that. I take it as a streamer viewpoint, whereas I don't want, and I would rather you lot give your money to charity every month, because I'm not a charity. I'm not on the breadline yet. I don't need to. I'm not struggling, if you know what I mean. The day I am, I may ask for donations and help. But if you fancy supporting it and you can support it because it is disposable, I'm very thankful. And I hope you get some value from it as well. And right on cue. The Amazon Prime, please consider your free Twitch sub on my channel. Fuck, I'm going to get perfect timing, couldn't it? It's a free one. It's a free one. I don't... Fuck. Jesus. That was classic timing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, keep his butt tip. Oh, dear. Yeah. You don't have to. You don't have to. If you can give it to a charity that is much more rewarding, such as Special Effects, which we'll get to, please send it that way, because they need it much more than I do, to be fair. Fucking hell, I can't believe I did that perfectly. Oh, dear. Nintendo has just announced the online expansion pack, meaning you can play N64 state games on your Switch for 50 quid a year. That's going to hit well. That is going to hit well for 50 quid for a year. So yeah, I mean, I was never a Nintendo player. I've had one. I think I had the GameCube, which I had for a very short space of time after I was reminded that I did have a GameCube, and I gave it away to Pabinski, my friend Scott. So there we go. We'll dive off to the next subject. I'm pre-ordering. Already playing the SNES and NES on my Switch. Cool. I do like the look of the obviously the OLED Switch as well. That does look quite nice. However, my next investment is going to be obviously the Steam Deck from Valve, which I've pre-ordered. So I've got that to pay for eventually. Original, how you doing? Nintendo Switch is the best console. It's amazing how people's lifestyles change and then what they deem the best. So anyway, next up on the list is CoD Cheater Warning. Yes, Activision Blizzard have been blowing the trumpet a little bit about this, which is quite ironic because I'm not entirely sure how this is going to pan out because of further developments. So yeah, they pretty much announced it a couple of days back that there's a new anti-cheat coming out, and I've actually forgotten the name of it. I did have it written down somewhere, but I've forgotten the name of it. And it's going to be a kernel level one, so basically it's going to need admin permissions to run on your PC. It's going to be in the nuts and bolts, deep down, looking for things that are nefariously running. Now, their announcement, and I can't believe I actually haven't got this set up somewhere. Did I actually have it set up somewhere? Let me just have a little look, say. Just bear with me. No, I didn't. However, I'm going to find it. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. I'm going to find it. There it is. Boink. So this Ricochet, thanks Hart, that might be the one actually. Yeah. Dear cheaters, we love games. It's our passion. If I just sit this side, you can still see me. We're honoured to make games for the greatest fans in the world. We don't always get it right, but we're committed to doing our best. Cheating ruins the fun for everyone. No one likes a cheater. Our goal is to deliver a fun and fair gaming experience for our developers, for our fans, and most importantly, for Call of Duty players everywhere. Cheaters aren't welcome. There's no tolerance for cheaters, and soon you'll know what we mean. Call of Duty. So yeah, it's a little bit of a little bit of bravado. It's like, hey, we're coming for you, we're gonna have you, we're gonna deal with you, etc. Now we know that Warzone has been plagued with cheats, obviously on PC, and then there was some console cheats that could be run via a PC as well, which was a phenomenal bit of engineering to get around the or allow cheats on the console. But yeah, it's mostly on PC, and it can be a problem. It's one of the reasons I've never really played Warzone. I've dabbled in it, but UR is so dubious about online cheats. A couple of things did come out of this. One was that the people were saying, are the cheats going to get the message? Are they really going to get the message with this new system called Ricochet? Like I say, it runs at the kernel level, so it's deep down within Windows, ferreting around looking for things that shouldn't be running. Do you think they're going to be bothered, cheaters? No, because there's thousands of accounts that are made and remade and, you know, access to the game. Because obviously Warzone is a free-to-play game. You know, you just need an account, and people can make accounts left, right, and center. Whether they do any kind of hardware banning is different. Now, there was an ironic thing, and Activision and Blizzard did not realize this until it was pointed out to them some time after, but they've had a recent video kind of detailing their anti-cheats or their anti-cheats methods and how they were going to deal with them. The problem was it actually contained a player who is a known cheater, and in the video he was cheating as well. When he was the clip that they used, he was actually cheating on. He's still active, he's still cheating, and he does have a YouTube channel, and he's still, you know, playing, and he says he's not going to stop. But the irony was that he was there playing anyway. To be honest, move to more and more kernel anti-cheat is so bad for all. Probably body up, because at the end of the day, people don't want kernel level. They don't want it that deep down, but I really don't know how they get around it. I mean, there's people been trying to solve this problem for many years, and I just don't know how they're going to do it. So that was one of the things. Like I say, he is still active on his YouTube channel. Him and his friend just mowing people down left, right, and center. Now, the other thing that has transpired, and I found out this yesterday, was that Ricochet, which is the anti-cheat system, has already been sold. Somebody within the development or has managed to get hold of this Ricochet system and has apparently or allegedly sold it to cheats already, to a cheat company, for thousands of dollars. So they've got access to it already. So how do you compare with that, or how do you compete with that? If the system is built, but then somebody literally pulls, you know, the bricks, the bottom bricks, that wall of protection is just going to fall down. So, I don't know. I mean, it's... Do Activision and Blizzard actually deserve this? Do the players that play the game, should they be, you know, losing out of not having a fair game? Probably not. It's not the players' fault. The clean players, that is, anyway. But, you know, at the end of the day, somebody's thought, I'm just going to make a quick buck here, and that is what they've done. Next step is China style, having to register and the local government building to play games. Let's hope not, Bievan. Let's hope not. To do what Dark Souls do, move all cheaters onto one server and hire some fudging out human admins instead of machine learning. Yeah, and that's what they're trying to do, aren't they? Everything's machine learning, but I think what pisses a lot of people off with games, especially like Warzone, because you see it in the news so much, is that the people get identified as cheaters. They give them the information, and then they seem to wait and they collect information, and then lo and behold, the cheaters are staying around for so long, and then all of a sudden they'll do a ban wave. But that player, whoever they are, has been around for weeks and weeks and weeks, destroying other people's games, and then they do a massive ban wave, and then they go, "Ha! Look, we've banned 100,000." Yeah, but you've just ruined 2 million games of Warzone because this person's been running around with all the other 100,000 that have been playing over the past couple of weeks. Now, They could argue that they never want people to have access to the servers because that makes it too easy to cheat on servers. Okay, which is fine. I can appreciate that. However, their own anti-cheat system isn't working, and because there's no admins running on the servers. So take an example of us many years ago running Battlefield Bad Company 2 servers. We could rent the server, we could admin the server, we could run extra ban lists, we could use Punkbuster, etc. Now, I'm not saying Punkbuster was infallible, it could be bypassed, but then you had people such as myself running the server as a human person, spectating people thinking, hang on, they're dubious as hell, out the door they go. And that's what they need to do. But their argument is that they don't want people to have access to the server program or the code or anything like that because it allows it to be easily bypassed. Well, I'm sorry, but your anti-cheat is being bypassed. It's been sold already. So why don't they allow the community to run games themselves? Similarly with Battlefield as well, obviously 2042 has been releasing new information. I'm not going to touch on that this week because there was other things that I wanted to talk about because Battlefield has been quite prominent. But I always feel like they've got a flawed logic with how they want to control and run things, and they base it on, you know, anti-cheat, etc., blah blah blah. But then the anti-cheat is being bypassed, and this Ricochet, if it's been bypassed already, well, that's just taking the wind out of the sails a little, hasn't it? They don't want it because they can't use the microtransactions that they sell. It's all to do with money for AAA companies. It is now, especially with Activision. I mean, we look at them and we look at EA. It is all about that, and sadly, you can never foster a real community now within those games. We used to. Every game that we came out in FPS, we'd pick up new players that would be playing it just to join the communities that we run, or you know, we'd play it with the existing crew that we had, and it was always good fun because you knew the people that were there. They were decent players. In all my time that I played competitive FPS in the early 2000s up to like running servers and stuff like that, I never, as far as I am aware, played with anybody that cheated. Nobody. Now, that's not to say that I, you know, didn't see anybody cheating. You know, I just never knew of anybody that I played alongside with that ever got caught cheating. How you doing, Tatus? Tatus is never late, nor is he early. He means to arrive. Oh, he arrives. Sorry, I always get this wrong. He arrives precisely when he means to. How you doing, Tatus? So, yeah. This, I think, is dead in the water already for Call of Duty. If it is true that Ricochet has launched, been leaked rather, to cheat makers. But I don't know. I really don't know. So let's hope that it hasn't been, and that it is actually something that's going to be worthwhile down the line. Tatus is as Tatus does. Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Right. You know what's coming.
Nobody likes being left out. That's why Special Effect are helping people with physical disabilities to play video games. But this isn't just about having fun. The gaming setups we create are personalized, so people can play to the very best of their abilities. And that opens the door to inclusion and independence, confidence and creativity. Help us level the playing field and create more magical gaming moments. Because it's everyone's turn to play.
There we go. Special effect. You know about it all now. If you don't, you've been living under a rock. You really have. Wonderful charity. Does wonderful things for gamers, disadvantaged, disabled people that want to game again. And they, like I said, they do some fantastic work. There is Game Blast coming up as well. And one special day, I think, is due before that, which is charity events that they do to raise more and more money. So, like I say, go to the website, more details on there. But any spare cash, any disposable income, rather than chuck it at a streamer, chuck it their way. They're much more deserving than any of us streaming monkeys, and we don't deserve it. We don't. Right, next up, Audio Radar. Good. This again kind of ties in a little bit with special effect. People with disabilities or disadvantaged. I do have a little video. Take a look.
I'm Tim Murphy from Airdrop Gaming, where we've built a passionate community of gamers, many of which are deaf and hard of hearing, which puts them at a disadvantage, especially for FPS games where hearing is half the experience. As an innovative company, Airdrop Gaming is determined to give every gamer a fair shot, and that's why we developed Audio Radar, the first ever Audio Radar gaming experience enabling deaf and hard of hearing gamers to see the sound in video games with a state-of-the-art LED lighting display. When everyone can play, our gaming community is better. So whether you're deaf, hard of hearing, and even if you aren't, I want to invite you to learn more and support this project so we can make our gaming community more inclusive and welcoming for all.
There we go. I've just put the link to the actual Kickstarter. It's an amazing bit of kit. It really is. I think we, as normal people, in inverted commas, who don't have problems with hearing, who don't generally have problems with sight, forget how difficult it is for gamers with those impairments to actually enjoy the game to the same level. Now, obviously, if you thought of like playing like they did in PUBG, running around with no sound, you couldn't do it. You really couldn't. You would never hear the gunfire. You'd be dead, and that must be so frustrating for people. So this system, to be fair, I think is wonderful. Think of along the lines of things like Tobii Eye and stuff like that, where you can control movement with your eyes. You know, as you look around, it tracks your eye movement, which I think is a phenomenal system as well for people that, you know, need that. Again, very much like special effects. You know, they use systems like this. Maybe not the Audio Radar, but certainly like Tobii Eye kind of thing, where they can track through movement of head, body movements to control things. So if you're deaf or hard of hearing and you really struggle to enjoy these kind of games, that system, you could say, would just be a phenomenal upgrade. It would almost feel like, you know, 100 times better experience for you. And I don't think us as having no impairments of deafness or hard of hearing, maybe selective hearing from time to time, if I don't want to hear what something magic's saying or something, you know, I might just switch off kind of thing. But generally it's a good thing, and to be honest with you. Now, as you can see on the video, it's very directional. Now, if you were listening to that, or if you actually go and watch the videos, Duck Nuts. Who's Duck Nuts? Wow, we've got Duck Nuts apparently. I don't know who Duck Nut is. If you watch the videos now, if you listen to it in stereo with stereo speakers or stereo headset, you will have seen obviously the lights and the footsteps change. Now, that is what we get a benefit of, is that we could tell that, especially where they did the footsteps one, we could hear them move from left across to the right. And you can do that obviously through stereo headset. Now, you imagine if you're deaf, he would have had absolutely no idea where that person was. But that's a visual representation for them. Guys, indeed, yeah. A visual representation of that system, a visual version of the audio, let's be fair. And you know, Audio Radar, I think, is just going to be absolutely great for those people that are hard of hearing, that are deaf. That's the one. Now, the good thing that it is that you saw right at the end, it can be used on consoles, it can be used on the Xbox, it can be used on PC, it can be used on the PlayStation systems. Now, obviously, that I don't know how it integrates, whether it's just obviously the control deck and it plugs in on whatever system you're running, but then it outputs to the surrounds around the TV. So you'd have to play it either on the set monitor or on the TV. Now, they did actually kind of mention it a little bit, did the guy, the CEO of Airdrop Gaming there. And he said that great for deaf players, hard of hearing, or even if you're not. And this is the only thing that I've seen that's been, and there's always somebody that kind of looks at it in a bad way, was that they're saying that it could be used for an advantage for normal hearing people, because obviously they're going to have a headset on, but they're also going to have to be able to use it with a visual aid. Because when you're maybe concentrating, you're focusing on something off to the right of the screen, all of a sudden you've got this red flashing light in the top left that's saying, hang on, I'm getting footsteps, or I'm getting sound from there. Now, we don't know how it's set up, whether that can kind of be, you know, obliterated if there's gunfire, if you're firing your gun, whether it's kind of going to do that. I don't really know, but people are saying that it can be used advantageous for normal hearing people that don't have any hearing impediments. Now, yes, you could argue that it could be, but is it such a bad thing? I mean, I'd like to think that if you're playing that kind of game, that you got to and you have no disability in your hearing department, that you can quite easily do without it and play it with just a headset on. It's an extra cost, let's be fair. I mean, it's not going to be cheap. There's been a lot of R&D into it, and then obviously to bring that to market, testing, etc. So it isn't going to be cheap, but it is an amazing piece of kit for the right people. But at the end of the day, they're going to want to sell quite a few units of this, and quite rightly so. But I just thought it was a phenomenal innovation, and it's just going to help people who can't normally immerse so much in those games actually enjoy them. I mean, you can see that the people, there was a couple of guys there, and they were just playing it, and they were like, wow, you know, they thought, yes, it's a promotional video, that they're not going to go that shit, but yeah, chatters, I mean, at the end of the day, even if people are hard of hearing, even if people struggle, I mean, you know what it's like, as you get older, your reactions are a lot slower, and then you get absolutely bamboozled by a 13-year-old that's got reactions of a viper. Yes, maybe it could be used to help, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I mean, chatters, if you don't normally play those kind of games, then, you know, maybe it isn't your bag, but it'd be interesting to see if it could be adapted for other things. You can imagine playing Sea of Thieves. You know, yes, there is a bit of a PvP element in that. There you are, you know, floating around in your boat, and all of a sudden all you hear is a coming in of a cannon, you know, a cannonball heading your way. You won't hear it otherwise, and all of a sudden your ship's been hit, and you're like, hang on, what was that? Obviously, if you hear it beforehand, the audio indication, it certainly helps. So there's applications outside of FPS games as well. So, you know, like I say, I just used a very quick example of Sea of Thieves for sure. It could be helpful in that way. But I think it's a good system. I think everybody here will think, yeah, it's good too. There's no reason for it not to be in existence because, let's be fair, we do want to include other people playing the games. Why should they be excluded? It's no fault of their own, you know. It's not like they wanted to be deaf or they wanted to be hard of hearing. So why not use technology in the good way that we can to allow them to get immersed to the same level that we can. So yeah, check out that link, have a look at it. The link might have changed because it did go live today, so I'm presuming it is live now. So have a little click through and take it from there. Let me just refresh that because that has gone a bit bonkers. There we go. I'm just going to refresh the chat. There we go. It would also help me in 360 types of game like space games. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be just used for games for, you know, competitive gaming in the terms of, you know, PvP games like PUBG. You could use it in, say, playing, I don't know, Star Wars Squadrons, you know, something like that. If you're a deaf gamer, you're not going to get that effect. You're not going to know that you're getting shot from behind, you know. I know there's the PvP element, but there's still the story element, you know, there's the PvE. You know, you could use it just playing any game as long as it kind of interacts with the sound system. Whether it needs any kind of special code writing into it, I'm not entirely sure. But that would, if it could be used on every game, just because it is an audio system that can give you surround sound, all well and good. And I think that's what it needs to have. So let's see how that develops. And I'm sure we'll see more about it very, very soon. Right. Quick slurp. I haven't got many videos today, to be honest with you. Ray's put, an app for Google Glass would be good so people hard of hearing can be notified when traffic is coming for when out and about. Absolutely. I mean, that would be something that would have to be refined over time, simply because obviously there's a lot of noise in and around traffic. How would they, you know, pick out a specific noise that's coming from one side? I mean, obviously they have directional microphones, but then how could they pick up that there's something heading in their direction? But yeah, I mean, we'd let the engineers and everything work that out because I'm sure they can. But absolutely. Yeah, AI, but that needs training, and we know it's not in a perfect. Sounds like a uni project to me, indeed. Very good. But yeah, UI isn't in the perfect place at the moment. I know they were harping on about it. It is getting better, and I hope eventually we can use it for decent stuff rather than the nefarious ones that we're seemingly going along with when it comes to AI. So it's very, very good, very, very good. I think it was in yeah, it was when I went to Sweden. The first time I ever went to Sweden, it was quite interesting because little anecdotal story. I went to see my friend Chris. I've told you this kind of story before. And he picked me up at the airport. He drove me back to the hometown, and he says, I need to just leave you for an hour or so because him and his wife, Jenny, had just had a little baby girl called Victoria. And they said, we're taking her for her first swimming lesson, our first time in the swimming pool. He says, so do you mind just hanging around the town for an hour? And I was like, yeah, that's no problem. You know, of course you can. Just, you know, go enjoy one of those moments that you're never going to have again, you know, where his daughter's going to have his first. So anyway, he dumped me like he normally does whenever I visit him. And I go off walking around his local town and everything. And this was what baffled me, was that whenever he got to a level crossing, I was like, what the hell is that noise? And I couldn't understand what the noise was. And it sounded like a rattle. But what it actually was a very loud rattle. But underneath the actual button where you pressed it was like it wasn't a ball. It was like a knurled knob that turned around and made a vibration as well. So what it was for deaf or hard of hearing people that obviously could put their hand on it, and when the lights turned green, they knew that they could then walk. I mean, obviously they could still see the visualization as well, but it was to allow them as well, and for blind people, obviously, you know, because they can't always see it, but they could hear it, but they couldn't see the lights change. So it was a 2-in-1 system kind of thing, and it was quite phenomenal. I mean, Yervin, you probably know of this system. It was in and around there. I don't even know if they're still but like I said, I hadn't seen many of them. I mean, I know we're a little bit slow in the UK, so we're probably playing catch up here. But I hadn't. It was the first time I'd ever come across them because it was so loud. I was like, "What the hell is that?" And then obviously you could see this thing turning around underneath. It was just like this little kind of knobbly thing that was underneath. But yeah, phenomenal. Anything that can help people, I'm all for when it comes to technology. Because that's use it as a power for good rather than a power for evil. This was back in the 20s when Geek was a young traveling lad. Not in my 20s. I didn't travel hardly anywhere in my earlier years. I've certainly done it as I've got older. Yeah, but definitely not in my earlier years. I didn't have any money to do that kind of shit. What was that all about? It's the 20s now. It's the 20s, yeah. Yeah, 1920s, yeah. I knew that was coming from original. I knew. Right, boink. Next up, if you watch the streams, last night's 5.5 hours. The one before, bit of a technical problem. But yeah, probably for about 7 hours over the past 2 days, we've been playing a bit of the legendary system changes and also the brawler that have arrived in update 30.3. I've touched on this before. It was going to cause a lot of consternation within the community, and the world chat is just horrendous at the moment. It does my head in. I have to switch tabs. I can't look at it because it's the same question again and again and again. And I'm like, people, you knew this was coming. They've actually put kind of explanation stuff out. To be fair, it's not the best in the world explanation. There's guides out there that are constantly linked. There's videos on YouTube. And yet you're coming into the game and you're going, I don't know how to do that. What do I do? What does this do? How do I do that? Why do people not do a little bit of research? I know this. I know people want to just say, well, I just want to sit down and game and then I've got to learn this system. Well, this system is being told that you've been told it's coming for maybe at least 4 or 5 months. So I don't think you have that excuse anymore that things, you know, just all of a sudden popped up on you and you are aware of it. I think pretty much you need to be a bit more clued up. So anyway, it's caused a bit of consternation. Last night I ran through, it took, sorry Trebs. Trebs is probably like, yeah, it fucking took him ages to do this shit. It took me, I had no idea. He's gonna say, yeah, it took him 3.5 hours just to do a fucking bow last night. But I just did it very slowly, went through the whole process of appraising the weapons, getting the currencies, the barter currencies, getting the actual new weapons, how you equip them, because you can't have one of one and one of the other, etc. And Nelbrew, how are you, dude? Ranini got asked today about an in-game guide on LOTRO stream. They said they wanted to do one, but they didn't have time, so there's one coming later. Yeah, I think, to be fair, that was always going to be the case. And I said last night that it's annoying because it's then left to the community to do. But then maybe they don't want to do one because they think the community in various streamers, YouTubers, etc., and website people will do that for them. So, Annie, I've done my new legendaries, found it straightforward once I knew what went where. Only thing I can't remember, going to rewatch soon to do the leveling up. Okay, yeah. I mean, have a little look. I'm certain that when we dive back into it, I'll run through it again for people, and then the more that we can kind of, I don't really like this phrase, educate people. It always sounds so condescending. On how the system works, the better, to be fair, because then it'll eventually stick. I know it's still frustrating, and Keepy said something earlier that he didn't know if it was a good thing. I'm not picking on your Keeps here, honestly. He didn't know if it was a better system than the old system, etc. I just think it needs time to mature. And what I said to Keepy was, we've had 12 years of the old system in various forms that everybody knows how to do. Maybe the imbuement confused people, but you pretty much know how to do that if you've got to there. Now we've had 2 days of the new legendary system. So we've had 12 years of the old, 2 days of the new, and that doesn't compare. You can't compare it at all. But I think we'll get it eventually, and I think this, better or worse, it looks loads more complicated. It does look more complicated, and I will actually agree with you on that there, Balth. It does look more complicated, but I think that's down to the UI not being clear. But I think once you understand what you're doing, it isn't complicated. But yeah, I said it yesterday. They should have had some guide out beforehand of how you did it, rather than leave it to the community. But like I said, the ones that we've done, or that we've linked to rather, the guides are phenomenally well done. And fair play to the people that have done it. But I think once you get your head around it, boom. But yeah, it's we are beta testing it, unfortunately, because again, another thing I said last night, they're launching it onto live, yeah, in a relatively stable form. It's not fully functional. There has been a few little cock-ups with it. They needed to get this out the door and in the wild first before Gundabad hits, because they're going to be hell on if they'd have done both at the same time. A new expansion and of Gundabad and the allies and the brawler, boom, all at once. Nobody would understand. Exactly, Nettlebrew, and that was why last night I got to the point where I just didn't know what to put on the words of craft. I'm thinking, do I go for the XYZ combination? Do I do this? But the hint I'll give and the tip that I used, and you all saw me do it, was have your original legendary. So in my case, I was doing the bow. Have my old classic legendary that I got to level whatever max. Have that on the screen, and then see what traceries you can match for that. The problem I had was then when making the sword, which was going to be my obviously class item, I was like, oh, which ones do I want? Because not everything is equal. But again, it's 2 days, and this is where we're like, everybody's like, what do we do? Eventually, it will settle down. It will be a more this is the best way to spec a hunter. This is going to be the best way to spec a guardian, and people are going to work it out. But just give it a dabble, have a little try at it, see what you think. But when I'm live, I'm always available for kind of giving any advice of how you do something. If you can't remember how you do something, where you go, what you're supposed to click, how you're supposed to upgrade. It says, Annie, if you need any help, just hit me up and I'll definitely guide you through it again. But it's there to be tinkered with, and it will improve. They do know the UI is not in the best place at all, really. And I'm hoping it looks something similar. What's the best trawler? Trawler Brits? Trawlers? Wow, fishing. Brawler traits, Gaz. No effing idea, Monkey. No effing idea. Worry about that when we get there, which will be a while. So, yeah, without leveling the tracer up, I've done a written comparison. Most of the new ones have put stats up already. Yes, they will. It's a very good point. Your DPS is phenomenally higher. My bow, if I remember correctly, or was it my sword? I think it was my sword. Used to put out 2000 DPS. Yeah, so damage per second was just over 2000. When I created a similarly equal new legendary, sorry, it was a dagger before, and I changed to a sword. The DPS had gone up to 3,333, so it had gone up like 50% and more. I don't know why they've jumped that high. I said last night, I have no idea the rationale behind it. I think it's too much. I think they're going to have problems with it, with the scaling of the instances, because already the instances that are existing now are just been blasted through. Tier 4, which was problematic, is now disappearing in the blink of an eye. I have played it a little bit, Monkey. I played one in the beta. The first beta, actually, when they had it on Bull Roarer just to test it. It is fun, yeah. But like I say, I'm going to create a little Hobbit brawler. And then we need to think of a good name for them. So we'll come up with something. So, yeah. Just going to remember to anybody that hasn't done it yet, do redeem that code. You've got probably a month and a half. You've got about 6 weeks before that disappears. Biff paff puff. So make sure you use it. If you've never tried LOTRO before, please do. Give it a whirl. Make a free account. It doesn't cost you anything. Redeem that code. Get loads of content. Just try it. You got nothing to lose. You may find it's a game that you get into because it's got good storyline to it, or you might find it's a bag of cack. It might not suit you because it's an older game. The graphics aren't 2021 level by any stretch, but that isn't the charm of the game. It is the literature that it's based on. So if you do like Lord of the Rings in any way, shape or form, give it a whirl. Some people have. They've played it for years and then stopped. Others have never even heard of it. So let's give it a little bit of a time to shine. So what we got next? I think I know what we've got next. Da, da, da. It's that time. No, it's never guess there. It's name the game. Wow, she called me duck nuts, and now is it? Oh, is it guess the game? Wow, got any sellotape? We won't go there, shall we? No. Anyway, right. Yeah, cup of tea. Right. Let's just refresh the chat and totally got rid of it. So you know the rules. I'm going to show you a very blurred image of a game. You've got 60 seconds to guess that game. If you get it in the first 60 seconds, you get 5,000 geek coins. If nobody gets it after the first 60 seconds, I reset the timer for another 60 seconds. If you get it in... Here we go. The guesses are starting. If you get it in the next 60 seconds, you get 2,000. Then if nobody gets it, we reset again. Obviously, each time we're de-blurring it just a little. And then eventually it'll be down to nothing. I'll de-blur it, and then whoever gets it doesn't get anything apart from the glory that you have guessed the name of the game. I've actually just realised that I haven't changed the actual title of the film. 1 second. That could have been funny. Now, I think the game is going to be difficult. Somebody's probably going to prove me absolutely wrong on this. However, the movie, I think is a lot easier to guess. So I'm intrigued. But we'll get to that one in a minute. So we're going to do our usual. We're going to bring up our 1 minute timer. We are going to bring up name the game. And I'm going to reset the timer, and I'm going to show you the image, and then you have 60 seconds to guess. So reset the timer. There's the image. Oh, go! Oof. Oh, that was an expletive from Magic there. I think I've stunned people into silence now. They're like, what the fuck is that? Halo Infinite. Counter-Strike. Need for Speed 2. See, they're feverishly typing now. Remember, if it does come up, I will say Satisfactory, and oof, good guessing. Assassin's Creed. Remember, if somebody does guess it, I will say. If they don't guess it, PUBG. Half-Life 1, Escape from Tarkov, Pong. Annie, you're showing your age, dear. You're showing your age. Far Cry, Fallout. And... time's up. There we go. Right, quit your guesses, quit your guesses, quit your guesses. You've had your honk. I've got a little honk sound now. I remembered about 10 minutes before the stream went live. I needed a honk sound. So that's the honk sound. There we go. There we go. Right, so Nobody gets that. I thought this was going to be quite difficult, to be fair. I did think it was going to be quite difficult. So we'll just bring that up. Let's just de-blur the image. It doesn't change much, remember, Trish. So we're going to bring this down to 75% blur. Doesn't always help, but we'll bring it down to 75%. And then we shall reset the timer. Right, go. Didn't fucking make any difference whatsoever, seemingly. Minecraft. It's actually like it changed. It did actually. It Monkey Island. I did think this was going to be tough. I did think it was going to be tough. Stalker. Okay. Last of Us. I'm waiting at the end and somebody will go, never fucking heard of it. 10 seconds. I'll just get missed Fortnite. Oh, hang on. There we go. So that was that. So nobody got that either. Nobody got that. So we're going to de-blur again and down to 50%. Let's see if this makes any bloody difference. Hang on, that's not what we wanted. We wanted that one. Right. So I'm going to de-blur. And do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take it down to 45% just to see if we can get it. So 45%. Fuck, really? Did that actually go to 45%? Jesus. It did as well. That didn't look like it did anything. Oh, crack on. Now on Simulate Generation Zero. Dishonored. Obros Bad Hair Day. F-Zero X. Oh. Still a Star Wars game in the dessert. Yeah, I know, I'm taking the piss. CS16. To be fair, I did think this was going to be difficult. Heretic. Time Splitters. Yeah. TIE Fighter versus X-Wing. Now, to be fair, the other week I did actually have a Star Wars game, but I'll tell you now, it isn't a Star Wars game. So I know why you're kind of heading that way, but it isn't a Star Wars game. Less than 10 seconds, actually. Less than 10 seconds. Serious Sam. Ooh, good guess, actually. Good guess there, Body. I know what you're thinking. There we go. And he's convinced. He's like, fuck it. He's lying to me. It's Minecraft. I'm telling you, it's Minecraft. Right. So I'm gonna. So we're getting no coins now. Nobody's getting any coins because we're down to the bad numbers now. So I'm going to take this down to 20% blur. 20% blur. Ooh. There we go. It's not Star Wars in the desert. Nobody's got it right yet. Nobody's got it right. 30 seconds. Evan, well done, that man. He's got it. Yes, it is indeed. That is the correct answer. Well done, that man. You can have a round of applause. It is Frontline's Fuel of War. Well done, Evan. Well done. I knew it was going to be a bitch. And I knew somebody would eventually get it. Would have never guessed that. People are like, fucking hell, what's that? So I'm just going to totally de-blur the image. There we go. Frontline Fuels of War. Yeah, I had to Google Fuel FPS. I actually bought it. It was a decent game, to be fair. I did enjoy it. But yeah, well done, Bievan. That was a toughie. I did think it was going to be tough. Now, Never heard of it. So Tom was like, never bloody heard of it. Never heard of it. Now, I actually chose this because when I was looking for an image randomly, I choose a year or whatever, and then I looked at this and I thought, I remember playing this game. And then I actually read the synopsis. Fucking hell, never heard of it. What? You youngsters. Well, the synopsis, and I thought it was quite funny because it actually says, by 2024, a global energy crisis and a worldwide avian influenza outbreak plague the world. As supplies of oil and natural gas wane, and alternative energy like solar power, biofuel, and nuclear energy still insufficient to replace oil completely, diplomatic relations between the East and West are strained, causing two new alliances to be formed. The Western Coalition, an evolution of NATO, and the Red Star Alliance, an evolution of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Red Star launches a surprise attack on the Western Coalition in retaliation to proof of the coalition supporting a coup d'etat in the oil-rich Red State member nation Turkmenistan in 2021. As the last oil fields in the Caspian Sea start to go dry, the countries move to secure what resources are left, leading to several small outbreaks that turn quickly into a full-scale war. Exactly. Pandemic and fuel shortages. Exactly, Balth. That's why I chose it. I thought, it isn't that old. I actually think it was 2008. I can't remember now. I'd have to look. It was something like that anyway. Yeah, but Monkey, you know, I mean, you're an old dude, but, you know, a lot of people here are generally younger. You're kind of one of the exceptions, apart from maybe Annie and Nettlebrew. That's not a game. That's what's happening now. And exactly how I actually thingy. Red Storm Rising. Yeah, I have actually read that. 25th. Yeah, it was 2008. I was right. Yay. But there we go. Well done, Bjerven. Sadly, out of time, so you get no geek coins, but well done anyway for the guess. It was a good game, though. It was a good game. Very Battlefield 2-ish, mixed with a little bit of kind of 2142, because obviously it was slightly futuristic. But yeah, a good game for its time, to be fair. Good game for its time. So yeah, well done, well done. Right, so we'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of that. Now, we're going to do Name the Movie. Now, I think this is very, very, yeah, it didn't last that long, maybe a year at the most, and then kind of started shutting down. It is, I think, easier. So I've actually made it slightly more difficult because I've flipped the image upside down. So it's blurred and it's upside down. But I still think someone's going to get it. So everybody's going to be like this. Looking at the fucking, they're like, what? Yeah, the fuck? Oh, they'll be just rotating their screen within within their software. So just so you got a heads up, it is upside down and it is blurred still. Okay. So name the, actually, before I do that, I will actually just reveal the answer for the name of the game that I did actually. There we go. Frontlines Field of War. So yeah, it was actually there. Here we go. Fucking hell. Every name under the sun, aren't we now? Every name under the sun. Right, so name the movie. Right, get ready. Are you ready? Can you handle this? Joke's on just a chessboard. Exactly. We're going to hit the refresh and then we're going to reveal. There we go, upside down. Mary Poppins. I knew it had to come out eventually. But remember, this is for 5,000 geek coins. Come on, hands up. Who's looking at it like this? Brave. Coneheads, Talented Mr. Ripley, Wally, 10 seconds, Jaws, Sound of Music, Topsy Turvy World. It's like when it's the right way up, it's too easy. There we go. Right, okay. I am going to de-blur it. Bend it like Beckham, literally. Bend it like Beckham. So I am going to de-blur it a little bit, as we did before on the other one. Clearly, this is an Australian production, indeed. So we're going to de-blur it. I'm going to take it down to 6... we've had that one. 66%. Okay, I'm going to take it down to 66. I do think this is going to reveal too much, though. It can be either, Björn, because normally posters have the title in them, so I don't tend to use them. So it is usually a random scene. So do you know what? We're going to use the perfect number. We're going to go down to 69%. For now. So 69% deep. Fucking hell, I doesn't believe blurred it. L. There you go. Crack on. Next one. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of has done. I actually, oh, Splash, I can see where you're going with that. I actually want to get some kind of animation thing that will like kind of move the image around upside down, left and right, but still leave it blurred. That would be cool. Midge and Mandy go boating. Beauty and the Beast. Curious Tale of Benjamin Button. Fucking hell, that took you a while to type original. Oh. Ooh, Agent 69, Jess. Oh, dear. 10 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Looks like a movie from the 70s. Ooh. There we go. Right, I'm going to give you a choice here. I'm going to give you a choice. Okay, quit your guesses, because if somebody gives it, it spoils it. I'm going to give you a choice. Now, I either de-blur it some more, but it stays upside down, or I flip it the right way up. Which would you rather have? Would you like the image flipped so it's the right way up? Or would you like me to de-blur it some more, but stay upside down? Ooh, we got a 2-1. We got a 2-1. So make your decision. Oh, all right. Okay, so we're going for 3. Oh, people flip. Okay, flip is still winning 4v3. Okay. So I'm going to flip it then. I'm going to flip it. I'm not going to de-blur it. I'm going to flip it. Well, the thing is, I know what it is, you see. And it always, when I looked at it, and I thought, oh, that's going to be too easy. It's very difficult when you know the answer to make things, you know, too easy, too difficult, whatever. So, right. So let me just change this. Let me just flippity-do. There we go. Reset the timer. This is your last one to get some coins, by the way. Mars Attacks. About a boy. Okay, yeah, I can see Annie. Top Gun. No. Jaws. Hey, Pixie. Another one, Animus, the series, that is Top Gun. Yeah. Hot Shots. Boris, the movie. Yeah. Fuck. You think the one on the right is Boris? He's just nutted Dominic Cummings. 10 seconds. Oh, Merman Grease. Right, stop your guesses. I'm going to de-blur. I'm taking away... well, I won't take away the time. Little Women. So we're going to de-blur the image even more. Wow, I actually thought this is... do you know, I actually think some people are going to kick themselves because you will know it. Right, so we're going to take this down to 40% blur. 40% blur. 30%. You get that? I'll reset the timer just for shits and giggles. Yay, Original gets it. Well done, Original. Well done, that man. It is indeed. There's something about Mary. And it is the very famous scene, which you will see right about now, where he gets hooked in the mouth with the fish on the beach. You've never seen that with... you've never seen the film? Monkey, you've never seen it. I hate Ben Stiller. Yeah. Something about Mary. The infamous scene where obviously they're on a little pier, man-made pier, and then there's somebody fishing behind him and he's just getting all romantic with her. And then somebody hooks him right in the mouth and yanks him away. Very painful. Never seen it either. Björven, it's too easy with posters because it has the titles in. And no, I'm not going to make it easier for you. That's the whole point. Not every. Björven, I do this quickly. I write this. It takes me a whole day to write. I'm not going to fanny around looking for a specific poster. It gets an image. Trust me. So there we go. It was indeed, yes, just to prove that whole point, that it was. Let me just get rid of the timer. Boink. It was. There's something about Mary. What we want, we need, indeed. So, yeah, when it was the right way up, and because it's such an infamous scene... Björven, shut up. Go write your own. So, yeah, it's such an iconic scene. I was just really, really bothered that it would be too easy. Hence why I flipped it. Because some of them we've had in seconds. And it is bonkersly hard. If I hadn't have done... sorry, with flipping it. Some of the ones we've done have just been too easy. They've been done in seconds. So when they were very... upside down, it looked like a man and a child. Yeah, it did. I mean, like I say, it is very, very difficult. And maybe something that we use in the future. You know, there's always that chance. So yeah, as we just flip it, yeah, that's what it was. You see, and it was just a perspective change, total perspective change. There's many words for that. I think irritating as well is another word. So there we go. That's Name the Movie. I thought we were going to get that one. Yeah, and Annie was like this. She's like, what the fuck? Yeah. I thought, don't do it for too long. You'll get a stiff neck. You really will. Really will. There we go. Right. Time to head back to the main page. So no, I didn't give any points about. No points. No points. Actually quite surprised at that. Really surprised. I thought somebody would have actually got that. Now, why is it every time I move that, something goes wrong with my list? Bear with me. Just need to alter some things again. Oop. Bum, bum. Sorry, my scripts have just done a weird thing that is really annoying when it does it, and I don't know why it does it. Scripts, eh? Who needs to write them? Who needs to write them? Should be outlawed. Should be outlawed. Right. Next up, we have New World, the launch and its issues. Now, you will have seen this because we did play it quite a bit. We'll get back into it as well. But it did launch, big fanfare, big problems. And that was pretty much endemic for the whole of the first week at least for the game. But massive numbers, lots of people wanting to get in, but massive queues to get into those servers. And it caused a problem. Amazon obviously fucked up massively when it came to calculating how many people were intending to play, how many pre-orders, how many servers they needed. For a good week and a bit, things were quite dire. People like Hark and Pabinski eventually couldn't even join our server. We're on Zerzura, and they literally could not get on. Which, to be fair, they can now. Cook GPUs, yeah. I still don't solely blame regarding the Cook GPUs. I know obviously the second batch seems to have come out. I don't solely blame Amazon for this. I really think that was an issue with the game, but also an issue with the manufacturing of said GPUs. If it was solely the game, it would be making a chink in the armor of nearly every GPUs. I wonder how many of those Cook GPUs didn't update drivers. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you, Monkey. I don't know how relevant that was, whether it was a particular driver issue or if it was just down to the whole game being kind of badly done, in the sense. Now, yeah, the first batch of GPUs that came about, obviously, it was turned out to be bad soldering. It was EVGA more specifically, and they obviously x-rayed the cards. I went through this, I think, a couple of weeks back when the reasons came about from the beta. And it did cause a problem, you know, but I think there was in total 24 GPUs that were the EVGA actually got RMA'd. Now 24 isn't a bad number when it's a manufacturing defect, but you've then got to ask the question, how much is the game doing it and how much is it the bad hardware? But subsequently, since then, since launch, there's been more people with the issue, seemingly, but again, I've not seen the numbers. No numbers have been bandied about by the manufacturers like EVGA or Gigabyte or Asus or MSI or anything like that. Now, touch wood, my GPU's always been fine. I know a lot of people, Keepy, I know you've been doing it here, have been undervolting their cards to make sure that they run cooler and everything, and the T-junction temperatures on the RAM, etc., do not pass any massive spec limit or anything like that. But there seems to be a way that this game is finding a weakness in the GPUs, but you've got to ask the question, should a GPU be able to be pushed that far? And if so, because of drivers, etc., allowing things to bounce about on a boost basis, have the manufacturers of the GPUs been cutting too many corners? As in the bad soldering, you know, have they not made sure through Q&A checks or manufacturing speed, because they know that there's a shortage, they need to get the products out, they need to get them out that are there so people can buy them or scalp them or whatever they're going to do. Are they to blame? And it's again, it's a very evocative kind of question, because you've got to ask, yeah, chip shortage is right when the 30 series hits, makes you wonder. Yeah, you do. I mean, you can speculate on this. Who knows? We'll never know. But it's almost like, yeah, we've got this, but it's almost like they haven't had enough to properly test the builds. It's like, shit, we're running out. We haven't got many. We can't waste them on too many units. Right, we've got a good board. We think, boom, bang, bang, stick the chips in, out they go. Oh, shit, we've had a few that have failed. But again, the first batch was only 24, and that was just EVGA. Seemingly this time around there apparently is more, but I've not seen any numbers whatsoever. There's been no follow-up on this, so who knows? Is it going to be higher than 24? Possibly, but is it just that people have got the weaker cards and they've been found out from the game? But then you look at the game and go, hang on, you shouldn't be doing that to my card. And the game can turn around, and Amazon, I believe, has turned around and said, hey, what can I do with us? It's your hardware. But, you know, how do you prove it? How do you prove that? So I'm sure somebody somewhere will create a class action lawsuit. So against Amazon and just saying you've done this, you've done that kind of thing. So we don't know. But anyway, apart from obviously the GPUs, the queuing was the big issue. I think first night when we tried to get in there, I was sat in a queue for about 4 hours and never got in. So it's like, there you go. We managed to get in. Up to now, obviously the whole kind of bubble has burst in terms of excitement for a new product. You know, hundreds of thousands of players. I don't know, and if anybody wants to look at the current concurrent players of the game, I can imagine it's halved at least. We did hit like I think 1 million or 900,000 plus at one point, but I expect us to be down maybe 400,000 kind of region now, rather than hitting those type of figures, just simply because it's easier to get into the servers. There's no queues. Servers are allowing players to actually create characters on there. So it seems like the bubble has burst in that one. I think it's time for just running benchmarking tools. Things to make us need to take the blame. Yeah, I mean, there's different viewpoints on this, Bevan, because you look at someone like JZ 2 Cents, and I do disagree with him on this. He's been kind of going after Amazon and saying this game is badly programmed. It shouldn't be doing this. It shouldn't be doing it. It's like running Furmark on your GPU every time you play it, and that's a stress test. This game shouldn't be stressing it. Well, should it be able to? I mean, at the end of the day, if it can run it, it can run it. Exactly, and the hardware fails. So yeah, that's why I think Amazon have turned around to the people generally and said it's fuck all to do with us. We've just made a game. Yeah, and I think Tatus, in some instances that's what actually happens, but usually they have a kill switch for temperatures. So if something goes too high or a voltage goes too high, it then cuts. But I think then what is happening is that for whatever reason, when people try and reboot, the damage is done. And I think that's maybe where the bad workmanship of the GPU is coming in, because it isn't maybe stopping voltages going through or stopping a certain temperature. And it just, like I say, it cannot actually deal with what it should be doing. Now, you could say that New World is the new Crisis. You know, it's going to stress the crap out of it. Yes, it does. You're hitting full on max, but you can alleviate that. And again, to be fair to JZ, he does offer a lot of recommendations about how to counteract this by dropping down the boost speed, your overall performance of your card. But should you have to? That's the question. You really have to look at that. A couple of things that have come about. Obviously, they're going to allow server transfers in the near future. And to be honest with you, I don't think they're going to necessarily need them. But one thing that, again, Amazon, you know, spouting off, yes, we're going to allow you to do this. Yes, we're going to allow you to do that. Blah, blah, blah. They've now backtracked on one of the things, and they said that you'd be able to transfer from a EU to a US cluster, or vice versa, or go to Australia, or go to South America, whatever. You'd be able to transfer, and they've actually turned around and said, no, that's not going to be possible now. You're not going to be able to. You'd have to transfer from a US server cluster to a US server cluster, or an EU to an EU. You cannot transfer continents, which has pissed off a lot of people, because some people just dived into the nearest available server and thought, I just want to play. So they've done that. Either play some time. How is the game holding up? I haven't been back into it. It's I think it's a long-term project for Amazon, to be fair. They've had a good bubble, but I think it's a long-term. It's going to be a very slow burner, to be honest with you. There was obviously, anybody that knows anything about the game is aware that there's the PvP kind of element to it, where wars can be started between companies. If you hold a certain territory, then if there's enough influence from somebody else, they can then declare a war against you, and you have to defend your territory. Now, with that in mind, this is where some very clever people, although very unsportsmanlike people, to be fair, have been doing something which they shouldn't really have been allowed to do. Apparently, there's a reporting system in the game. I've never seen it. I've never used it. I haven't had a chance to check it out. That allows you to kind of report someone. Then it's a kind of, from my understanding, an automatic system. Anyone want a cup of tea? Yes, please. So pretty much people have been getting banned or suspended temporarily. Now, what's happened is that if there's an upcoming war, they've been like, what should we do? Oh, hang on. Well, that guy's in that company. That guy's in that faction and he's in that company. Right. If we report them, we're just about to go to war. So he's going to get a 24-hour ban. So he cannot partake in the war. And it's like, that's advantageous, isn't it? So there we go. It is a problem. And Amazon have countered that and said, well, that's not how the reporting system works. That's not how it is in regards, how it should be used. Well, no shit, Sherlock. But at the end of the day, that's what's been happening. So that's one thing that's been come to light of that. Now, speaking of pissed players, and I think this is actually, not genius. It's not on the level of Eve style, but there's been some very nefarious but very clever players doing a bit of drama with regards Eve. Now, if you know anything about Eve, obviously you know it's the space sim spreadsheet kind of thing. Lots of cloak and dagger stuff happens over years and years and years, and it's honestly, at times, it's fascinating to read about. I never got into it, but it's fascinating to read about. Now, one instance of this drama has actually happened on one of the Heracleon servers, and one of the syndicate factions on there, one of the syndicate faction companies on there was losing several wars, and with a last call to action, the leaders begged many of the company to and the faction to cough up a load of gold to pay for you have to pay for what's called a deed for the last unclaimed region. So they were going to claim it. You have to pay a shit ton of money for it. And about 200 players coughed up between them about 60,000 gold. How you doing, Eth? To help out. And they thought, yeah, this is good. We can claim this piece of territory. Job's a good one. Yep, he did. The leader fucked off with all 60,000 gold. He literally just fucked off with it. He took all of it. Him and a few of his friends. They started new alts. They started transferring the money around, and then they deleted the original alts. Now, obviously, there's a lot of time and effort and that gone into those alts. However, they've just coined between a few of them 60,000 gold. So subsequently, there's some very pissed off people on that server. They're literally penniless because some of them just paid everything that they had into it. Some of them thought they knew these people. They'd gamed with them for quite a while, not just in New World, and then all of a sudden they've got no money, they've got no company, and they've hardly got any gear as well. They've literally got the gear that they've got because they kind of sold everything else off just to help pay for this stuff. So there's about 90% of them are in the shit. So whilst it's not on the same level, like say, of Eve, and I know obviously Bevan, you just put that there, it still shows how cutthroat people can be in an online PvP game. It's a virtual world, yes. It doesn't actually cost anything in that sense of money. It's not like Eve where people are literally almost using real money because of the value of stuff. With New World, it's not, if you know what I mean, because it's only cosmetic based. So yeah, it's an interesting story. It really is. Tatus, that is why you lot are not playing it. To be honest with you, I switched obviously to start playing LOTRO because of the update. I will go back to New World as well, but I've got a lot of things to try and fit in. So yeah, it's there. We're going to be playing it again, but yeah, there's still people playing it. I know Furlon's just totally immersed in it. In fact, Furlon is here. I'm going to ask him, Furlon, what level are you now in New World? Because you were in the 50s anyway. So you're pushing to level cap. Yeah. Oh, it's swapping between the twos because it's totally different play style. It is good as well, but only 54. Only 54. So yeah, if you do want to play it, if you want to join us, we are on the Zerzura server. We are as the Marauders faction, and our company is called the Eternum Social. I was going to say the Eternum Royal Society then, and of course that's not us. Yes, especially I just had an arse in my head all the time, and I thought, hang on, what did we change it? Yeah, the Eternum Special Society. So we are ass. Now, if you want to be wearing some threads, go to Geek Merch. There is a t-shirt we've created on there specifically for the Eternum Special Society. It is the New World logo and then our little text underneath. There is a sale on as well if you want to dive in for any of the other merch on there as well. Grab it while it's cheaper. And I always tell the people this because I want people to have things cheaper, which is always good. So yeah, New World we will go back to definitely because it's going to develop. I think they've proven that they've actually created a hit game, so they haven't shut down within 5 minutes. And subsequently, I think has it got a donkey on it? No, it hasn't. But I see where you're going with that. I was trying to put a bottom on there, Annie, but yeah, we could have put a donkey on it. We could have put a sign on the donkey. But yeah, it's a very basic t-shirt, but if you do want one, it is on sale along with the other Geekbyte logo, the new Geekbyte logo, which I tend to forget that I actually have. Yeah, shocking. I know. So right, next up, let's see what we got there. Next up, right, so Windows 11 launched. Nobody gives a shit. Next, Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy. Rejoice at the news that there is a remaster, re-release with modern gameplay enhancements of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. Now, out of those three, there's one clear winner for me, and I've said it earlier, is Vice City. I really can't wait to dive into that because, to be honest with you, it's 80s Miami Vice kind of thing, and to be honest with you, I can't wait to play it again. I really am intrigued how much of an update it's going to get. I still hope it has the same vibe to play through it, so I'm not bothered about the other two. I never really got into San Andreas, and GTA 3 was okay. I mean, I remember the original GTA, obviously top-down perspective before they went 3D, and that was... See, Bevan's like, San Andreas is the best GTA. Yeah, I mean, I know they improved over time. That was the only game my laptop ran at the time. Excited. Wait, well... Yeah, I don't think Windows, to be fair, just to jump back, I don't think Windows 7 was bad. Windows 8 was shit, because that was pointless. So I think 7 was good. 8 was not really needed. 10, good. 11, I just don't see the point of. Still got my Gran Turismo I got free with PS4. Cool, nice. Yeah, San Andreas was amazing. Yeah, I never got into it though. I don't know. I liked 4 was all right, but I thought 5 was really, really well done. I enjoyed the story. Yeah, Windows 11 is going to be a free update eventually to everybody who's on Windows 10. Yeah, I think basically the Microsoft are doing a TikTok, aren't they, where tick is good, talk is bad with the various versions. And to be honest with you, they've done it again. I just can't see the point of Windows 11 at the moment. I'm not upgrading. Windows 10, I thought, yep, yeah, that's fine. Windows 11, we'll see. But definitely, but yeah, I can't. There's no official release date as far as I'm aware on the GTA Trilogy. We are still waiting to hear. However, there is rumors that there is going to be an announcement on the 22nd. So just a week's time, because that is the 20th anniversary of the launch of GTA 3. So they think that tying in with that there's going to be, some reveal about the actual announcement. A lot of the talk is that it's going to be this year. So whether for a nice little money spinner for Christmas, let's get it out the door in November, December time, and a bit of cash for Take-Two, etc. Indeed, T is up. Fucking hell, even they've shrunk as well, haven't they? Fucking hell. Multi-bar back. So yeah, I've got my tea. Got my tea. No, that's not the tea, not the cup of tea. So the exam is my math. If they can get new machines, get rid of all habit, they will have it. Yeah, and that's why they do it, is that they want to say, oh, that's not going to be supported anymore. Don't worry, Windows 10 is going to be around for at least 2025, if I remember rightly, because that will be 10 years since it was out, so which is phenomenal. So yeah, don't worry, that's not going to be going anywhere soon. So that is pretty much it for the GeekCast. However, we've got the biggie, and I hope some of you have got some things ready. Ask me anything. If you've got a question, now is your time to ask it. Again, I'm going to kind of say yes, I'm going to kind of say no, I'm not going to answer that, etc. So if there's anything that you want to ask, if you want to ask it, no. If not, I can stop streaming and I can go play Lord of the Rings online. It's entirely up to you. So if you've got anything that you want to ask, ask me anything questions, fire away, because I'm more than happy to answer most things. I'll actually just put myself back to there, so you've got my ugly face in slightly bigger. So while you're feverishly typing, I'm sure all of you, Keepy, are you the biggest Muppet ever lived? Oof. No, that would go to Big Bird. Oh, what was the elephant from the big kind of, not the elephant, from the Muppet Show? They had a big, oh no, it was from Sesame Street. They had a massive elephant. Kind of, shit, what did they call it? That's the biggest Muppet. Monkey says, Snuffleup, that's it. An elephant-sized dog or a dog-sized elephant? I would rather have a dog-sized elephant because the shits will be smaller. Anything about XSplit, or was it covered in an earlier podcast? No, I've never said anything about. I know there was a question that you wanted to ask about that, didn't you? So by all means, if you need to ask, if you want to get Windows 11, get it using Rufus. It bypasses all of the online aspects of Windows 11, like TPM, CPU requirements, secure boot, basically all MS wants to keep. Evening from Jaffa. How are you doing, Jaffa? Good to see you. Welcome. We're on the Ask a Geek Anything, so if you've got a question, fire it up. Annie, when I eventually get my PC set up in room, how do I hook up the Xbox PS4 to it? With a cable. That is a very good answer. However, if you're on about, Annie, connecting your PS4 / Xbox to your monitor, then pretty much it's just going to be to HDMI on a port on your monitor. That kind of scenario. If you wanted to connect it directly to your PC, the only reason that I can imagine that you want to do that is if you're going to capture anything, because most things don't have a through port kind of thing. So you're pretty much depends what you're trying to achieve with it, Annie. If you want to just use it in the same room as your PC, but on the same monitor, but not at the same time, pretty much that's what would be my suggestion, is connect it directly to your monitor via HDMI port, or if it's a display port or anything like that. When the time comes, Annie, if you need me to help you, please do drop me a message, etc. By all means. So, I was looking for a program to remove background if someone can't use a green screen, like XSplit has something like that. Yeah, it does. XSplit VCam. and it works reasonably well. It's not foolproof by any stretch, but it does work to a degree. And again, it's machine learning, so it is improving. With every green screen technology, mine, you know, if I use it, you've got to have good lights and you've got to have a kind of a uniform color behind you. That makes it work. Now you'll still see a little bit of tint probably on the actually this shoulder here. You can probably still see a tint of green there, and that's just because of the reflection off the green screen onto me. You can never fully eradicate it, but I will say if you use VCam, try and keep as plain a background behind you as possible. Yeah, if you don't, it's trying to compete. It may even struggle with a headset as well. So it won't be perfect. Don't expect as good a quality as this, but it won't be bad, and it'll be quite good for, you know, the purposes of most people. Annie, so yeah, if you're going to consider streaming, then as Keeper says, you're going to need a capture card of some description for that. Now that would be either one that you have in your computer, or you would use one that's like USB 3. Elgato do different versions, but we could have a look at that if you were into that. Yeah, my problem was that it didn't download from their official site. Oh, didn't it? Okay. You know, because the download breaks at 60% every time. Okay. Have you tried? I mean, I don't mean to, you know, you probably have, but have you tried different browsers? It could be something that's stopping on a specific browser. Monkey, did you play No Man's Sky? Yes, I did. I did actually try the update. And it's another game I'd love to play more hours into, but there's only so many hours in the day. And when I've got, you know, D&D, when I've got LOTRO, you know, GEEKCAST to write, at least spend time going to work and spending time with Magic. It's one of those that I always put onto the back burner, and that's the problem. It's one of those. I did try it at launch, and it wasn't in the best place. Then over time it's turned into a much better game. So Monkey's like, well, I fancied playing it, and then I realized I had it. It's one of those, is it, Monkey? One of those. It's on the stream, on your Steam list. Yeah, try that. If not, I can possibly try grabbing it and then sending you it over via you know, a zip file or something like that. We could see. Yeah. Download managers, I don't think are necessarily, you know, used much nowadays. They certainly were a long time ago. Annie, hoping to get a new PC. We'll put specs in Discord when I choose one. Get your opinion. Absolutely. It is a bit of a problem, is the way of the world at the moment when it comes to PC parts. It is very expensive. Very expensive. Fucking hell. Not sure on this. Yeah, question. When are we going to have another quiz night? Oh, do you mean like the quiz night we had with the wrong answers? Kind of quiz night with the Lord of the Rings book. I put it somewhere. I tidied these drawers and I can't find anything. This is why I think it's a man and a woman thing. Women want to move things so that it looks tidy. I'm not saying Magic has done this. I've tidied it away. But whenever you tidy something, you're like, where did I put that? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, something like that for what Keepy's just put in there. It is handy for very large downloads. However, anything like, I mean, I think it's about 150 megabytes is not a big download. Found it. Found it eventually. Yeah, there we go. Riddle Earth, Lord of the Rings quiz book. We'll do the wrong answers because that's all I ever got. I'm not going to do it now, by the way. I'm not going to do it now. But yeah, we did get the wrong answers version. So I'd answer the question. We'll do an example just because we did question 1. So we'll try which creature attacks the Nazgul during the battle outside Mordor. Some people didn't even know the right answer to this. So which creature attacks the Nazgul during the battle outside Mordor? And it was wrong answers only. And I think we had something like unicorns and stuff like that. You know, that kind of weird shit. You never ask for the right answer. A rabid jellyfish, indeed. So when is the Jackbox Games party? I don't know. We did do a test. Me and Keepy did a test a few weeks back because I'm going to get a few people on stream, actually on the screen, and I can, using XSplit, I can take an NDI source into XSplit. Now, the only way we could do that was via Skype. And it did work quite well, actually. It worked quite nicely. So we managed to test that. So we're going to get a few people on, and we've done the test. We did a little run through, me, Balth, and Keepy, of some of the questions, and it was quite hilarious. But yeah, there's a new Jackbox party that's just come out, or it's due out, I think. Jackbox Party 8. But there's plenty of things to have a go at. So, and we're going to try and pick ones that have got audience participation in as well, so everybody else can get involved that isn't necessarily answering the questions. But then you could, you should try Beacon. Very good and much better than Sky. Yeah, Tatters it's literally because it has an NDI output that I can then bring into XSplit. It might be better. You could say Discord's better than TeamSpeak, but if it doesn't have NDI, it's no good. I don't know, to be honest with you, but I know Skype has, and it's one of the only few that does. So OBS Ninja. I can't use OBS unless absolutely necessary. So yeah, just for clarity on this, actually, the reason I don't use OBS unless I have any particular need, or if I'm streaming somewhere else that does use OBS, is because I am in a way sponsored by XSplit. Hence why you'll see from time to time that there is an XSplit link where you can get 10% off. It's because I get XSplit for free. I have done for several years since I joined their stream team, which is kind of now defunct, but we are an affiliate of theirs. So that is why I use XSplit. But yeah, it has to... whatever I use to bring into XSplit, generally an NDI source. And like I said, well, luckily Skype does actually still do that. I'm not bigging up Skype or anything like that. It works. There we go. Just so Tom could bring it up. If you do want to try XSplit, there you go. You can get 10% off anything by using the code GEEKBYTE. Funnily enough. Interesting story about that. When we first set that up, it's kind of, again, we're off on a little tangent here. XSplit itself, I was one of the first few, quite luckily, to get a discount code. Well, somehow it got leaked out to the internet, and it was all over every discount site known to man. So initially, I was earning a lot of money from it. Not a lot to retire. Jesus, I'm not going to be all of a sudden top 10 of a list or anything. And I actually queried it with the management, and I said, hang on, you've just sent me this payment and I'm a bit worried that you're going to ask for it back. Can you tell me, is this right? You know, it was a substantial amount. It wasn't in the thousands or anything like that, by God, but it was a substantial amount, because I'm thinking, I haven't really advertised it that much. And then because I said that, they did a little bit of digging, because they could see that my code was getting used left, right and center. And I'm like, this can't be right. What it has gone onto these discount sites that you can just do, you know, you can type in discount code for XYZ product, and it had been put on there and it was just getting used. I then had to change my code so it stopped working, and then it happened again. So eventually they've kind of changed the way the system works now. So it's like, oops. So there we go. A little sidestep there anyway. A little sidestep there. So is there any questions I've missed? So Annie, the way it is at the moment, you're going better with the pre-build. Yes, Monkey is absolutely right on that. Pre-build is definitely, yeah, if you can get the parts cheap and you can make it yourself. But yeah, pre-build is the way to go. Agaz was being responsible for the breakage of something, right? Yes. Yeah, I did break things, but you know, I can't help it if I break it. Will we ever see you on Minecraft? If I'm honest, Annie, no. I have tried it many years ago, and I just don't see the appeal. I see the appeal to a certain player demographic, but for me, it just doesn't appeal. But it is supposed to be fun, but I just don't have the time to sink into it, if you know what I mean. Literally, I don't have the time. And it's one of those, again, what do I do? What do I do? And my gaming time is finite. If I was, you know, sat on my arse all day, not doing anything, streaming, you know, every day, then I would be doing something like that. But sadly, I can't. So, yeah. Sorry to disappoint you on that one. So, any other questions? You know, I think I've got away with this, to be fair. I've actually got away. I was expecting some very dubious questions, but luckily, I think the potential dubious question asker is not here now. Monkey's got raspberry and white chocolate cookies. Are you jealous? No. I'm not a fan of raspberries, to be honest. Tom, any gaming conferences or meets in the foreseeable future? I've got nothing booked as yet, although after EGX, which obviously some of you will have been following, which happened down at in London. Sorry, dodge the stag do. No, there won't be a stag do. No, sorry, I didn't see that one. No. Yeah, EGX was last weekend, and to be honest with you, it was dire. I mean, I'm not joking. When you go to these things and you're there for 4 days, like we did a couple of years ago, it was problematic. In the sense of over the 4 days, there was a lot of people, and then it dies off on the Sunday. The Sunday is always the quiet day, but there's always a lot of people showing there. You know, some of the big people showing off the games. We were there a couple of years ago, showing off Everspace 2. And to be honest with you, it was very, very busy. Hard work, but very busy. But if you actually see the shots of the EGX this year, there was hardly anybody there. Literally hardly any exhibitors and hardly anybody going. It was actually so poor. A lot of the pictures that you saw were very curated in the sense that they'd be taken from a certain angle so that you couldn't actually see all the floor. Yeah, it was on, like say, last weekend at what was the one we went to? The XL. Yeah, the XL. But some of the people that went were demanding refunds because it was so piss poor. Some people had paid for hotels to go because sometimes you want to do it over a couple of days. I mean, we were there for 4 days, from the Wednesday to the Sunday. Actually, sorry, we went down the Wednesday, didn't we? So we went Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we left on the Sunday because we had to go down on the Wednesday to set up. That was an adventure in itself. If no one's going, why exhibit? If no one's exhibiting, why go? Catch-22. The thing with that, Keepy, nobody told the customers. EGX didn't tell the customers, and the Cerazel weren't going to then have to refund because they booked it with the XL, so they weren't going to say anything. So it went ahead. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like going to a gig and they're saying, well, we've only sold 20 tickets. Yeah, but you hold 5,000 in it. Yeah, we've only sold 20. You're not going to tell them. You maybe cancel it, but again, that's the cost issue. So yeah, EGX were not popular, should we say? But if you did see some of the reviews and some of what people were saying and taking real pictures, not curated pictures which showed over-the-shoulder shots with like a load of people around one thing. Even the stands where, say, like the ROG Republic of Gamers and Asus stand. When I've done them before, many years back in 2015, 2016 era, you'd have people 2 or 3 at the desk watching you stream or whatever. There'd always be people mulling around, etc., looking at the hardware and that. They had people there streaming this time, and they had the barriers behind them. There's nobody stood there. Nothing. All you saw was through the barrier, like the red barriers, and it was just floor for miles. Now, we saw EGX or at the XL in a morning, and then last thing at night when there's nobody there. And it's still quite full, even with all the exhibitors. But you take 3/4 of those exhibitors away, empty. It really is. Again, I don't think the world is ready for it yet, especially not in the UK. 2 people are hesitant still, and quite rightly so. I'm not dissing their decision or anything like that. And I think the exhibitors were turning around and saying, well, we don't know how many people are going to turn up. We're not going to spend a shit ton of money to advertise to only a few thousand people that come through the door. There's no point. It is expensive to go there. I didn't get the exact figures, or anything from Michael at Rockfish. I'm not privy to that information, but it wasn't cheap to actually have a stand there at XL. So, yeah, Catch-22, maybe next year. But yeah, if I am at any of the conferences, even if it's to do with EGX, sorry, not EGX, to do with Rockfish, which is what I'm mostly going to be doing possibly next year, then yeah. Oh, you're heading to Ashton Gate, obviously, for Bristol Rovers tomorrow, and there'll be 22,000 there. People have been more selected on what they're spending money on. Exactly. And I think they have to be. They have to be. Big sporting events such as the football are always going to pull the crowd, always. Whereas gaming events that kind of aren't really advertised greatly are not gonna. So sorry, yeah, I know. City. I'm just upsetting because I said Bristol Rovers, not Bristol City. Sorry. Have you received a date for your Steam Deck yet? No, not yet. Nothing. Still in process. I'm sure as soon as they get the dates, Tatus, then they'll be asking for the remainder of the money. And then you'll get the date. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. Have you pre-ordered as well? I don't know actually out of how many people here have actually pre-ordered a Steam Deck. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, you have. Okay, yeah. Did you go top level one with the nice screen and the 512 NVMe? Harkaz, yeah. I think it's going to be phenomenal, and it could really boost Linux gaming. I mean, Linus is very enthused because he's had the hands-on and he thinks it's phenomenal. I don't know if anybody's seen the Linus Tech Tips actually teardown. Kind of, well, not the exact teardown, because Valve actually tore the thing down and was telling you, don't do this, don't do that. But if you want to, you can. This is how you do it. And it was a little bit of a shitty video. They kind of... But they wanted to see what was in there. Them and Anthony. Sorry, Linus and Anthony. Did you say with an ice cream? With an ice cream? With an ice cream. Hang on. Reviews will come in way before I get offered mine. I will not worry about losing 4 money. Well, it is only a deposit, Tata, so it might be a refundable one anyway. To be fair, though, I don't know if you've been watching it. He has been trying to get. They've got this kind of Linux challenge going on between him and. He does the podcast with him. I can't remember. They're doing trying to get Linux working and making it usable in gaming. But if anybody can, Valve can. So. Yeah, I know Linus gets a little bit excited. He is a hype merchant, and that's his job. However, he is pretty much Jake. That's it. But we'll see if Valve can get Linux working. Yeah, Luke. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Luke. It is. Yeah, he does the float plane stuff. Then. Pretty much, I think it'll help. I mean, obviously, seeing what the anti-cheat is going to be working as well. There have been many attempts at selling something to rival Switch. This might be the best effort using Steam games as well. Win-win. Yeah, if I can play Lord of the Rings or something like that or even something like The Witcher, and you know when you get the really shit bits that you think you've got to do, especially in Lord of the Rings. Can you imagine just having to come up and sit at the computer where you could be sat downstairs and just on your, a nice handheld device, and you're just like, yeah, I'm just doing this legendary, blah, 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 blah. I think the only problem is it'll be like, shit, I can't see the screen. What's that icon do? So who knows? If they can, I wonder if there's any ability to cast to a TV. That would be good. So you can enhance the image. Maybe not run as well, but enhance the image. Because I think they did test that as well. So we'll see. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with the gaming events and everything. Yeah, there is going to be a doc. Yeah. So that's going to come out. But we'll see. But yeah, gaming events, I'm not entirely sure how it's going to fare out in the future. I have tweeted to and spoken to Michael at Rockfish very briefly, because last year before COVID hit, I was due to go to TwitchCon in Amsterdam and show off the game. Obviously Everspace 2, and then COVID hit, so that scuppered that. However, next year TwitchCon is due to come back in Amsterdam again in July next year, 2022. So I'm hoping we do something for that and I may get to go. And then obviously Everspace 2 eventually will launch, hopefully next year. And to be honest with you, that's when the party is going to be. I'm going to be in Germany for the launch party. The game is going to launch, and then they're going to have the launch party afterwards. So, yeah, going to be good. So expect a lot more content next year for Everspace 2. Monkey Inbreed, the legendary vendors are on the minimap but not in game. Yeah, I think they just haven't updated the game yet. Updated the map. Annie, if you got invited, would you do what Shatner did and go for a ride to space? Yes, I would, because it'd probably be my only chance to do it. Although, if I'm honest, I don't like Jeff Bezos. I really don't. Keepy, Shatner wants to be relevant, especially since his betters have all passed now. To be fair, though, Keeps, I mean, he's synonymous. He's probably the most famous Star Trek captain as such. He got offered to do it. But I think Jeff Bezos was a bit of a dick when he went up into space, came back down, and then all of a sudden, Shatner's trying to say, fuck, that was an amazing experience. And, I really don't want to ever forget that experience. I mean, he is 90. To be fair, his body went through a hell of a thing there to go up into to space. As a 90-year-old, there's some people here that are half his age or less, and they won't be able to do it. So fair play to him on that. I know he comes across as a big arsehole, and I know a lot of people deride him, but at the end of the day, he was offered the way to do it, and he was giving his thoughts on the matter, and he came back down, and he's been interviewed, and he's want to go blah blah blah. It was great, blah, and he was in kind of awe of it all, and then Jeff Bezos comes in and goes, champagne fuck party, and he's like, oh right, thanks for spoiling my moment, if you know what I mean, kind of thing. But yeah, Tatus, I'm the same in that one. Balth might have something to say on this one. I would say Patrick Stewart with Cisco just behind, to be fair. That sounds wrong. But not Janeway. No, she was awful. She's my least favorite. Absolute least favorite. But yeah. So any more questions before I stop? Because I need to have my cup of tea, and I'm probably gonna just dabble with LOTRO. We will be back with LOTRO tomorrow because I want to start leveling a Hobbit brawler, and then lo and behold, I want the wonderful peeps of the VIP-nesses to actually create the character as we normally do. Whenever I create characters, I get people involved. I just need to think of some stupid name. So think of names as well. I want suggestions if you are going to be here tomorrow for the stream where we create the brawler. And I start my leave tomorrow. 2 weeks, by the way. I'm on leave for 2 weeks from tomorrow. I've got one shift to do, and then I'm off for 2 weeks. Randy Fister. Oh, dear. Keevy, I've no name suggestions this time. I couldn't get any decent ones for myself either. Yeah, at the end of the day, you know... Oh, dear. I don't think I could get away with Finger Blaster. Just literally, you are using your fingers. So, oh, you got your D&D. To be honest with you, Annie, I'll probably be on even after your D&D session. Bing-a-laster. Yeah. Yeah. Binga-flaster. Binga-flaster. Oh, God, with the shocker. We'll go for the shocker. Bingo shocker. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, no worries. Elder, plans for other games. I've got, hopefully, well, I've got a few things in my Xbox kind of list to have a... we finished around 12, we'll start till 8:30. Oh, fair. I might be on before then, Annie. Yeah, there's a few that I've got planned, hopefully, again, to try and fit in. It's just with the whole New World update 30.3 for LOTRO, leveling experience, then obviously Gundabad coming out next month. I do want to play Battlefield 2042, so if anybody does have that, we will play some sessions of that. Get on TeamSpeak. TeamSpeak? Fuck, what year am I in? Get on Discord for that as well, because that will play a hell of a lot better. If you've pre-ordered it, fine. If you've not, don't worry. You can probably pick it up fairly cheap. So yeah. How to know if the world is going through another crisis? ABBA released new music. Absolutely not. I did see this a little bit. Having fun with the pissed up pirate rogue. Wow. That's our characters aren't even pissed, and we behave like we do. So if you're new to the channel and you've not seen it, we do D&D sessions here with Leo X Striker. He's the DM. We've got myself, Keepy, Lewis, and obviously Stella, who is into Baxes, and she bought the t-shirt. She literally bought the t-shirt of that. So if you want to check out the geek merch that I linked to earlier, there's some Baxes on there, which is all in dedication to her one phrase that she said when she got some very excited about some boxes in the D&D session. Yeah, that's the thing. It just devolves into rudeness. Hopefully we'll get slightly longer sessions, but Stella unfortunately has little ones that we kind of have to work around. So when she's at home, which she is, the little ones want her mama. So there we go. Right, I'm going to stop there then, because we've been jibber-jabbering for 2.5 hours. And I did 5.5 last night, and God knows how many the night before. So I'm all jibber-jabbered out. So I'm going to probably dive into LOTRO if you're in there to try and sort some of my more legendary items out. God, tongue twisters. Who needs tongue twisters? Again, if you've not tried it, dive in, claim the LOTRO Quest 2021. Loads of content for you to dive into and get on your way through an epic journey of Middle-earth. We'll be back with more tomorrow, creating a Hobbit brawler. Hope you can join us for that. Thank you, Ray, Voodoo Ro. Thank you very, very much for your subscription. Absolute legend that you are. And I've actually, very remiss of me, I haven't actually put you up in the VIPness. Hang on. Before I go, Voodoo _ Ray needs to be up with the VIPiness. I need to sort that out. It's not allowing me to do it. I will put you up in the VIPnesses, of course, Ray. But thank you very much, as always. Thanks, Furlong, Hart, Keepy, Annie, Eth, Leo, Magic Monkey, Raz, Tatters, Bearfish, Arabs, Elder, Elysian, Afterpayer, Ixie, Kitten Rescue, Lacy Lux, Minimees, Nettlebrew, Skipper Dog, Spike Trap, Claire, Talrian, Tizcloud, Trebs, Virgo Pros, and Voodoo Ray, and everybody else that's been in and out like a fiddler's elbow. That was episode 12. Onwards. We'll see you in probably episode 13, but we'll see you in other streams soon. Take care for now, folks. Bye bye.